I think as an organisation we were quite fortunate in that we'd gone through previous BSI assessments and we had the BSI for Inclusive Service Provision. But what was really good about this one is that the ISO definitely expanded the remit. So we were looking and exploring other areas that previously we hadn't considered before. So that helped us look at practices that maybe we hadn't thought of. So it was a really useful exercise. Yeah, really one that was worth undertaking in terms of that whole gap analysis piece of work.
Well, at PayPlan, we've been working with the FCA vulnerability guidelines for some time now, and therefore we already had documented policies, procedures, and a governance structure in place. So the main exercise for us was matching up the controls we had in place and then against the scheme. What we did was we completed a risk assessment, so that was conducted to understand areas where there maybe were some weaknesses in place, and then what further measures were required to be taken to complete that. And of course, we're working towards consumer duty, and the Kitemark scheme has really demonstrated that we have robust policies and procedures in place to really achieve that as well.
I found the scheme easy to follow. I think with the previous experience that we had from the BSI 18477, we had a good take and idea of how it was structured. So then it was just mapping the new standard into our existing processes to understand how it would fit.
I think what the assessment flagged up to us was that there was opportunities for improvement in some of our processes, so our policy documents around our processes. So although as a business we're really aware what we need to do, some of the documentation probably wasn't as reflective of that as it could have been. So there was definitely improvements that we made in that area. Also being really transparent with our customers in terms of how they use their data. So additional information was added to the website to allow them to see that.
Through doing the audit, it's actually given us a little bit more controls in place to enable us to make sure that those are being communicated out and that we're confident that we're not only delivering that training, but that actually we can look back and say when it's been delivered, what teams it's been delivered to. And I think as a part of that, we've identified a couple of gaps where we can add and improve a training programme.
Well, for us, the only area of non-conformity was in relation to dealing with third-party representatives. So we created a policy in dealing with third-party representatives, which has addressed that point for us, and there were no other areas of non-conformity.
Yes, so we moved on to the ISO standard with the associated Kitemark, which is well known by customers, so that gives us the confidence that we're working to this standard and also gives our customers confidence that we're doing the right thing for them and giving them an inclusive service.
It's so reassuring that we now have ISO 22458. We're one of the first 9 in the world. What an accolade for someone like Power and I. We're a small electricity supplier in Northern Ireland. We've always been known for being a caring and responsible business, but it gives our staff and our customers a real renewed sense of achievement and reassurance and confidence that we will always do the right thing for them.
For us, the customer's always centre to what we're doing. So we have continuous improvement. It's been built in from staff, people on the ground, and that we're always looking for ways to improve.
Well, all organisations in the financial industry will be working towards consumer duty, and looking at a journey towards the Kitemark is a really great step forward in preparation and really embedding this into an organisation, which is key.
I would recommend any other organisation that first of all focus on your customer and know who your customers are. Build your processes around it, making sure that they're fair and inclusive.
I think really to reach out to others and share best practice, look for people who've already achieved a Kitemark. It's really important to try and get that experience from people who have already undertaken that work.
I would say do it, and do it as soon as you can. It's really hard work, but it's worth the effort. The sense of achievement that we now all have is like nothing else. It's really important that you put a focus on your most vulnerable customers, and there's no better way than ISO 22458.
I would say get hold of the standard, have a look through it and do a self-assessment, and they'll probably find that they're doing quite a lot of it already and can cross some of it off quite easily, and then they'll be able to see the gaps that they have, work through them, put a plan in place and a timescale against them to get those done, and then they know what they've got to work towards. And if they have any questions, BSI will always be on hand to help them, and as organisations who have already been through the standard, we'll be more than happy to share our experience.